welcome to Should I Play This Game podcast 302 for the 8th of July 2024. I'm joined as always by the one and only Steve Francis. How are you going, sir?
Oh, hello. I was just trying to mess with you. Ha 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 ha.
And I knew it wasn't, so it didn't work.
Damn it!
And
I'm trying to make it look.
That'll make no sense to anybody just listen to that. So.
Well, people know we do this over the internet, so I was making it look like there was an internet shittage.
Yeah, but people listening to the audio won't have any idea what you just did.
I said hello and went and stopped halfway through, and then anyway, it made sense.
I'm sure it did.
Up here.
Yes, up there. How you going? You been good?
Yeah, right.
You're on school holidays, aren't you? So you've been all week?
I am. I have completed the first week of school holidays. Volume of games played, perhaps maybe a little surprising to some.
I was expecting more, if I was honest.
Yep. I have literally, outside of, I think maybe perhaps one other game and some stuff for videos, I've literally spent all my time with 2 games.
No, okay.
This week. But one of those games has about 22 to 25 hours in it, and the other one has about 8.5.
Okay.
So that's where most of that time has gone. And I didn't really touch either of them on Friday because I started streaming about 1 o'clock my time on Friday to do a checkout of a game we'll get to in a sec, and then to do the larger holiday version of Friday Night Fun. And then on Saturday, went out, left the house for a period of time to hang out with a couple of mates. Went to a burger joint in the city. And then my car's been a bit of a dick, so my brother came around. So I didn't really play anything until I did the Saturday special with The Surge 2.
Hey.
So outside of before recording today, this morning, on Sunday, where I played about another hour and a bit of one of those 2 games, So, I don't know. We're already talking. Well, I need to put a pin in it. I have a must listen, and it is one of the most must listens of this year, and I'm going to get to it later.
Okay.
Just to make note.
You might as well keep going and just do your games then.
I was going to say that, but then I was like, I need to make a note that must listen needs to be said. I got a couple of phone games up first.
Phone games.
Because
they don't count. No, just kidding.
Well, these 2 do because they're actually pretty good. They're not new. They're not 2024 games. One is from 2023. I literally was guessing that until I looked over at this screen here, or technically the screen that's in front of me. Duh. And one's from like 2019, but I had an excursion, and basically to kill time, I decided to play a couple of games. I've had Coffee Golf sitting on my phone for a while. I heard really good things, and conceptually, you play one quote-unquote round of 5 holes of golf, but it's on a singular landmass. So you can tackle the order of the holes although you can tackle the holes in whatever order you want.
Okay. Yep.
And it's pretty clever, and it's like fairly short because it's meant to be played over coffee. But there's also a tour mode, which seems like it's endless. And it's kind of a puzzle mode in that you get a number of shots. You need to get the ball in the hole in less than that number of shots. And if you do, you move on. If you exceed the number of shots, you can either buy more shots or you leave it and come back later. So the monetization is actually fairly generous because you get a decent amount of the paid currency as you're playing through that tour. You also use that currency to buy buffs, for lack of a better term. Like there's a buff that as soon as the ball lands, it stops. It doesn't bounce or roll.
Okay. Yep.
And some things like that. It's genuinely a cool little phone golf game. And like literally, if anyone's, obviously on the audio version, it's going to not show as well. But the key art we've got in front of us you see an arc with a landing zone. That literally comes up when you press on the screen and you drag your finger backwards.
So
And then it sort of goes...
As you drag back, the line goes further, or does
Yep.
it? Okay, so
Further.
it's relative to what you're doing. Okay.
Yep. And there's a driver, an iron / wedge, and a putter.
Okay, so you don't have the full suit of clubs. You just got okay. Okay.
But it's really it's fairly simplified, but it's also really, really cool. I actually spent a decent amount of time playing that. To the point where I think I ran through about 16 or 17 of the tour holes before I quote unquote ran out of currency. And I just haven't gone back to it because I haven't been in a position to play a phone game.
Yeah.
Because if I'm home, I'm not playing a phone game because I'm either in front of this a big old beast of a PC, or I'm on the couch with the Switch. But the couch with the Switch, I feel like is going to be a next holiday thing. Because there's the Mario RPG. No, that's not it. Paper Mario remake that came out a few weeks back.
Yep.
And I think by the time that next holidays rolls around, will be the new Zelda as well.
I think so, yeah.
Which I'm keen. And Nintendo did a spot of a deal where those game vouchers you can buy on the eShop.
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah, know of them, but don't.
Yeah. So you pay $130, you get 2 game vouchers, you can use it to buy 2 games. Okay. And it actually ends up saving money because, for example, the new Zelda is running at about 80, maybe $90 on the eShop. So I pre-ordered that and also the new Mario Luigi game. But the deal was that you also get basically $27 worth of coins.
Okay.
That you can use in the store. Wasn't an automatic. I had to wait a couple of hours for the coins to go into my account, but I now have essentially about 30 odd bucks, 30, 35 bucks that I can spend in the eShop on stuff.
Okay.
So that worked out pretty nice because I already had about 11 bucks ish off the top. Either for 11 or 4, I can't remember. So yeah, that's worked out nicely. So next holidays will probably be a couch / Switch holidays.
So looking at what we've got access to on the IGDB, it's not out on iOS, but I'm assuming that's where you played it?
What's this? Coffee Golf?
Coffee Golf, yeah.
Yeah, for some dumb reason, it says TBD iOS, and I'm positive it came out around that time, either on Android or it came out earlier this year.
Clearly you're playing it, so...
Yeah.
On an iOS, it's obviously out. So yeah, okay.
When I've noticed that, I've actually gone in and done the editing on the dates on some of the new release, the stuff we've had in the upcoming games list. Because IGDB is much like Wikipedia or anything like that you just log in and you have the ability to edit. But I didn't notice that and didn't know when it came out. I could have looked it up on the App Store, but I was like, But that thing's really cool. Off the top of my head, it was either free. I mean, I could say off the top of my head, or I could stop being a dipshit and just look it up in the App Store. Coffee Golf. It just says open because it's a dumb fuck, and I've already got it installed, and I'm a dumb fuck. I think it might be free to play.
Okay. Yep.
Possibly. But yeah, that's really, really cool. The other phone game I played was a older Zach Gage game, Pocket Run Pool. I didn't actually know about this one. I was reading, what was I reading? I think it was an article ages ago or something about Zach Gage or phone games or something. And it was like, hey, he's also got this pool game. I'm like, okay. So if people aren't aware, Zach Gage is the developer behind TypeShift, which was a phone word game that had like a lock-breaking style element to it. And also Not Words that came out. Was Not Words last year?
Don't know the name, sorry.
Okay. Not Words is kind of like a crosswordy style, almost a little bit of Scrabbly element to it as well. And they're both really, really cool. And this is basically, it's a pool table. You have 3 quote-unquote lives. It's 8 ball, but each pocket has a multiplier on it.
Okay.
Um, if you don't sink a ball outside of the break, if you don't sink a ball, you lose a life.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sinking the balls to get the best score you can.
Hmm.
And obviously, you're trying to hit like an X8 or an X10 hole, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. And you just play it and get the best score. And it's like, yeah, I got a good score. Maybe play it one or two more times. Like, all right, I'm going to play something else. So it doesn't have that longevity, like singular session longevity, as something like perhaps a Type Shift or Not Words did.
Mm.
But if you like pool, this is a pretty good pool game on phone. And you don't have to fuck around playing other people. Because when you fuck around and play other people, you tend to lose. I've played in a couple of decent little pool games this year between this, Rack and Slay, the pool roguelike, which is really great, and Pool, the pool-based Suika game that I spent some time with. But anyway. Vroom! Yellow Taxi goes vroom. Sadly, at least for now, the last I'll talk about it, at least probably until Game of the Year, because I not only finished it, I've 100%ed it.
Mm-hmm.
I did have to look some things up as far as where the fuck some of the items or collectible items were.
Mm-hmm.
It is so cool. The concept of a 3D collectathon platformer, but you're a car. And like the way in which it combines the different navigational techniques, and you initially it seems really simple. You do the spin and you hold the trigger or the accelerator and you just go. But if you time the boosts and do a perfect run, it goes higher and you're just doing that sort of stuff. There were a couple of times where some of that navigational stuff was perhaps a little harder than maybe it would have been with a standard character. Because some of the control elements maybe lacked the little bit of nuance or asked for maybe an element of specificity that the control scheme couldn't reliably provide. But that was only for a couple of individual sections. Like the actual main gameplay itself, playing through the game just as in general, is so fun and so interesting that it doesn't really get in the way that hard. There are a couple of parts where I'm like, fuck you! But the rest of the game was so cool that it's like, I'm sticking with this. And I dig it. It's got a really cool look to it. Sort of that going for what you remember Nintendo 64 games looking like or PlayStation 1 games looking like. You can turn on multiple different oh fuck, the words escape me now. I hate it when this happens. Like filters to make it look even more like a Nintendo 64 game. But it's just so, like, you wouldn't think 3D platform collectathon as being original, but then you put a little car in it and it becomes original. And the different little mechanics that you get make it just really, really cool and interesting. I really dig that. Okay, I need to double check something real quick. Because that, where are you? There. In the last 2 weeks, I have spent 15 hours playing this game. Nordic Ashes Survivors of Ragnarok. I said it last time. It's an ass game, but it's really, I dig it. I keep playing it at the expense of, well, I haven't played it that much this week. I've been pretty good about that. But I think it was last weekend before I'd started a couple of games, and I'm like, I need to do something to break myself of this, because I literally spent about 8 hours last Saturday playing this game. Because it's just one of the, like Vampire Survivors, it's really easy to just go, next, let's keep going. Woo! But yeah, that game's really dope. I like that game. Now, I saw a little bit of something before we started recording with regards to you and Duck Detective, The Secret Salami. Now, have you finished this yet?
I have now finished it, yes.
Wonderful. Because I'm very curious your thoughts on the...
you saw me playing it, because I was trying to get it finished, because you mentioned, you put a somewhat cryptic type message on our Slack communications, and you were curious about how I thought of how this game ended, so I'm really curious what the conversation is, because I'm not really sure Yeah.
So
Start. Go on.
let's start with the good. I fucking love the presentation.
Oh, top notch. Yeah, 100%.
Graphically, fucking fantastic. I love that does the little paper
Yeah,
wobble like in South Park.
and flips around and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep. The oral elements, the music's pretty good, but the voice acting is fantastic.
Agreed.
Sorry?
Agreed. Yep.
Yep. The very noir heavy tone of the dialogue from the doc is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly.
And just the surrounding characters being varying levels of fucked is pretty great too.
Yep.
But like the surface level detective type gameplay I really enjoyed. Like the walking around, the trying to investigate, the looking, the magnifying glass stuff, that sort of stuff I really enjoyed. It showed cracks when you started getting deeper and starting to work on some of those deductions, which I love. I do need to also say, I love how they put the word duck in things that have no business having the word duck in them.
Yeah.
Like, deduction is fucking great.
Yep.
Some of them felt almost random or lucky because some of the words felt...
Yeah, so the biggest issue, I think probably what you're saying is just So just so people know, the game, how you put these things together, you get all these clues that you'll talk to a character, they'll give you a feedback on what they're saying and stuff like that, and from that the game will pick out and say certain words out of what they say will turn into clues, and you go, okay, fair enough. You go into your sort of your detective book, and there'll be a mission or the objective you're trying to get, plus all of these key words that you can use to basically complete essentially a sentence of the outcome of the thing. So, for example, one might be, like you've talked to 3 or 4 characters and you piece together so and so, like essentially like Cluedo, basically so and so in the so and so with the so and so killed so and so, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But putting some of those words in and picking the right character and right words, I felt was freaking hit and miss as to whether it made...
Some of the words are really interchangeable.
Yeah, and you could just go, well, how on earth did you pick that out? What was it? What did you do? What clue did I use or pick up? That means that's the answer. That's probably the biggest issue I had with it, is just some of the outcome, some of the solutions were, oh, okay, I don't know how the hell you got up with that, but okay.
There were some elements you didn't get presented particularly great information to allow you to fill those blanks effectively.
Yeah.
Like you didn't get presented particularly clear information about certain motives, certain characters, certain instances. I ended up figuring out some of them just through sheer brute force.
Yeah, I think
because
yeah.
Did you play it on normal or story?
I have no idea what to set it on, to be honest. Didn't know there was a different thing. Didn't know there's a...
So, you get an option at the start, and normal basically tells you how many you have incorrect, but it doesn't tell you which words you have incorrect.
Okay.
So you can brute force your way around that and guess that. Story apparently tells you which specific word you have incorrect, which I probably should have done that. It would have pissed me off way less.
Yeah, so I think if that's the difference, then I played it on normal then. Yeah.
Yeah, so did I.
Because all it would tell you is you've got 2 or 3... Was it 2 or less wrong, or 2 or 3 more wrong, or something like that? And if you've got too many wrong, it just says, give up, go get a hint or something.
Yep. And that was fucking annoying in some spots because, I don't think you got information that actually allowed you to make, or if there was information that allowed you to solve that, it was so hidden. Well, it was in sort of like really weird details in specific scenes and stuff like that made no sense.
Yeah, like there was like we could probably. I mean, should we spoil this for people?
I was going to say spoiler. Let's maybe put a spoiler note on this part.
We'll put a spoiler part on this one because there's one puzzle towards the end where you're trying to, a particular character's being, a character leaves the game, quote unquote. I'll just say that as a term, and apparently they're kidnapped. And there's a clue, like how you figured how the game gave you the clue that they were kidnapped. It completely went over my head. I just did not see it at all. And I was looking at it going, how the hell how did kidnap become a thing that happened to them?
I think I just guessed that out, brute force that out.
Yeah, that was just a weird one, and I mean, honest, even when I used a guide for some of these because I just
Yeah.
could not figure out what the fuck they wanted me to do.
I should have, because it maybe would have pissed me off less.
Um,
But apparently
yeah,
this is what, like, Golden Idol, the Case of the Golden Idol, or whatever that game is, and its upcoming sequel are very similar to this.
okay, yep.
But I know people really like those. But so there were a few of those where, like, you're stuck progression-wise trying to figure out how to fill these fucking gaps in, but you have to fill the gaps in. You're not given any new information. Not much is tracked as well as it could be. So you're just like, what the fuck? Okay, fuck this. I'm just going to fuck around until I get these things fitted. And it just randomly worked itself out. And then you've got this story where there are layers to the story as far as different events going on and stuff like that. Where as you progress, I forgot the main impetus of the story was to figure out who stole such and such's lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it became like multi-layered conspiracy about importing certain items, and a fucking party that went fucked, and what happened to that specific character, and all of it was just like, oh, guess what? Bang! Here's who stole the lunch. Wait, okay, and he just like brushes off completely this fucking this illegal importation conspiracy. Is like, fuck that, that's not what I'm here for. I figured it out, but I'm not here for that. I'm here to figure out the sandwich. I'm like, you dumb motherfucker. And then, like, the way it reaches its endpoint, which is who fucking stole this sandwich, and then you're accusing people of being involved in this secret importation conspiracy. There's a completely separate crime that actually takes place, like fucking fraud and counterfeit crime. And the two characters involved in that face no consequences. You can have three people be arrested as part of the importation, but the counterfeit and fraud, nothing. And even the two co-conspirators in that importation were fucking so piss poorly justified before the events that revealed everything. Like, in the events that revealed everything, they're like, hang on, what the fuck? One of these characters I'm meant to really feel sympathy for and feel like they've been treated like shit, and all of a sudden it's revealed, ha, I'm the Riddler. And it's like, what the fuck are you on?
Yeah.
So, did you arrest all three?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And there's actually, when you finish that game and it actually comes up and says, you probably saw this, but I'll just, it comes up and says,
who arrested who?
Yeah, 98% of players arrested one particular character.
Yep.
And the two accomplices were 64 and 69% respectively. I won't name those three characters, but they're the three. So out of all this, you basically get, as you said, these. So there's the conspiracy to import the salami from one side, which I have no idea that was even. There was nothing in the game I read or heard that said that wasn't a thing you could do, but apparently you can't do it.
There is a sign in the car park about like customs and what's illegal.
Okay, but so that's the sort of thing I found. That's the sort of thing I found. It was there was so many clues that it gave you that I just couldn't figure out where the clue came from.
Yeah,
and that was so thoroughly frustrated me about it. I mean, as you took to the top, the presentation is basically one of the best games presentation-wise I've played in a long time. Just the audio, the voice acting, everything's really top-notch about it. And some of the early puzzles are really quite easy to piece together.
Yeah.
But as you get along in this game, and you've got, like, one of them had 28 words you could pick from.
Yeah, that was fucked.
To pull in this massively long, quite elaborate sort of puzzle solution, and it doesn't quite work. I mean, it's freaking close. I think they could have made the idea, the actual clues you got make sense. I guess is what you got, but doesn't clearly show you how the clue was presented to you. You're talking to someone, it just happens. You get a clue. Oh, okay, and you're sort of not too sure exactly how it fits in. But there are some that are like the ones you get when you're talking to characters make more sense. But then once you get where you're just looking at a piece of paper or something, and a clue gets ringed up, and go, okay, how the hell did that come from? And you just, it's not quite there, but it is so good in so many other aspects that it's sort of a bit.
It's really close.
Yeah.
But like, and this is another one. Like I said, like trying to figure out the you get the fraud part and that not being touched on. That really lets everything down.
Yeah.
Because it's like you've got this completely separate other crime that's actually probably way worse from a company-based perspective.
Yeah.
And those two fucks don't get anything.
So the the head guy got arrested. So he didn't get...
The boss got arrested, but he was involved in the salami importation. He had nothing to do with it. Was fraudulent printing of like tickets for the bus company.
Oh yeah,
that were being sold on an eBay equivalent.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. I completely. Okay.
Like nothing happened with them.
Yeah, true.
I did like at the end, like the little cat lady who's like freaked out, the customer service lady, basically going, "Fuck this! I shouldn't have fucking hired you in the first place. Get out."
Yeah.
How do you feel about the safe? Getting into the safe, the puzzle for the safe.
I had to look it up. I couldn't figure. That was so obtuse. As to, so there's again, we're still in spoiler mode, I guess, for this particular little game. There's when you open up the safe, well, you move the painting out of the way and get access to the safe behind it. There's a clue which has got, what is it?
Three sets of two initials.
Yeah, 3 sets of 2 initials, like CS/OO/BD, I think it might be. BD or something like that. And apparently they were the coded thing for the departments.
Yep.
And the number of employees in each department is the numbers of the safe.
Yep.
Fucking what?
Now, I thought BD was birthday for the longest time.
Well, I thought there was, because in the reception area there's a calendar with Sophie's birthday on it.
Yep.
So I thought it was 7 for that for a bit.
That's exactly what I thought.
And I thought it might have been 2 for the number of Salami. So I actually thought my first one was 207. That didn't work. Now I'm out of ideas. Sorry.
Well, I think I was looking around the discussion boards when I was playing that, like, got to that part, and I saw something about like the initials indicating positions, or some of the initials indicating positions. I'm like, okay, so maybe it's not. It's about, because CS is fairly easy. I thought that one was relatively easy to figure out. Because there was only one thing in the game that had CS on it, or anything to do with CS.
Yeah.
And then OO I eventually arrived at, but I thought that was tied to the number of coffee cups on that fuck's desk, given how many he accidentally takes.
Yeah, okay.
Because he's a blind fuck and he can't see.
Yeah.
The BD, I thought for the longest time, was birthday.
Yeah.
But then as you're walking around, you see there's that letter that's on the floor that has absolutely nothing to do with anything, but it still has like a number highlighted. And I think maybe one of like the 2 words. And then at some point I clicked without, I don't know, because I was playing this before a Friday show, I think, or the Saturday special. So I'm like, all right, I need to bail out of this so we can start playing the Search 2. Came back the next day, I'm like, fucking figured it out after a couple of minutes banging my head against it again. I figured out what the BD meant, and then the number sort of fell into place. But
yeah, that completely, I just could not pick that up at all. When I figured the CS bit, but because I thought, okay, that's customer service or customer support.
I wasn't sure if that was the potential number of 8 people, or how many were actually working, or because you got one and she's not even working customer service; she's in the kitchen making a fucking cake.
Exactly. But when you think about the office layout, there's only 2 fucking desks that are occupied.
But and there's 2 other spaces that aren't, and he makes a point when you go to one of them, looks at it and goes, "Oh, there's 2 spaces here, people not working. What the fuck?"
Yeah. So
it's really close.
It is really close, as I said. It is really close. I'd like them to do a second one, like a second.
Well, that like there's on the discussion boards, there's at least 1 or 2 threads of, "Yo, can we get some DLC or some shit?" Because it's fairly easy to just do a new case, tweak the mechanics a little bit to make it a little bit more, I guess, viable and a little bit more readable.
Yeah.
And then go from there. Because that's kind of what Golden Idol did. There was a couple of DLC cases that got added to that. and like that'd be awesome if they refined some of those detective mechanics and that fill in the blank mechanic.
Mm.
But as it like, and the weird part is, and I've said this a few times about a few different games. Like, I looked at the reviews after the fact. Like, I saw the reviews before, and I'm like, "Yo, I'm in."
Mm.
But then I went and looked at them after the fact, and all of them were so effusive in their praise of like this mechanic, the way it's presented, all this sort of stuff.
Mm.
There was only one review from PC Invasion that was like, I have no fucking idea how I arrived at these answers. And I'm like, yes, I'm with you. So yeah, I was really curious how you were going to react and how you felt about that, particularly that process through the end point, that last hour, that last half of it.
Yeah. So from about, I think there's like
Because can you remember where you left it off?
So I left it off probably. Trying to think what I had. I think I had 4 more puzzles to complete when I came back to play it today.
Oh shit, you were really close.
I was really close. Yeah, I was close and way closer than I thought I was. But I think I'll probably stop playing it because I first talked about it in the podcast we've had Mike on. And I think I gotten to a point with that playing at that point that I just couldn't figure out what the next thing to do was to sort of progress the story, quote unquote. And when I came back to it this afternoon or this morning to play for it, I'd completely forgotten everything about the thing. I have no idea what I need to look up a guide to figure out what I need to do next. To go, okay, now I can progress a little bit more. But I just got to the point where I was playing it today and I just could not get past some of the things I was doing. Yeah, you're right. It is so close to being. I think the one thing it needs to. I don't mind the mechanic of the puzzle mechanics. That's fine.
Yep.
Putting the words in the sentence that's fine. I think the thing that I would like it to try and do is make those words that it picks up,
or the context of
more
the
context
words
behind where the word came from, would make it much easier, I think, to piece those sentences together. Because I know what they're referring to now.
Because in the notebook, you get the visuals, like if they're like the computer screen and all that sort of stuff. It puts it in there so you can look at that, but you can't review dialogue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's where a lot of those clues come from, or some of those clues at least come from, is the dialogue you had with some of those characters. Now, there's the character screen where you're filling in the names, and that's it. That's all you use that screen for.
Yeah.
Had you been able to use that screen and it tracked your dialogue with each of those characters, that's where it gets a bit more user-friendly.
Yeah.
But, like, some of the shit was just so esoteric. Like, trying to figure out who the fucking the accomplices were, when, at least on the surface, from my memory, there was no fucking information on why or who the accomplices were.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I was like, hang on, how does this occur that these two people are the accomplices helping this fuckface with this salami shit when nothing else in the game, like the only hook is that one of the accomplices dated the other.
Yeah, but I
think that was it.
Yeah, but there wasn't even really an obvious thing. There wasn't even an accomplice to begin with.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden it goes from no accomplices, there's now 2? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's got such a great starting premise.
Yep.
In terms of its presentation, all of its presentation is top notch. The voice acting is brilliant. The music's really good. The audio, the visuals of the duck, and it sort of flipping around and the cardboard cutout sort of stuff that it does, is really, really good. And the puzzle mechanics themselves are okay. It's just not quite linking how you pick up the clues to those things is kind of where it falls down. But it is still a really good game. I really enjoyed a lot of it. I think the presentation of it is what drove me through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Especially the Duck's dialogue is just so, like, it's completely over the top, but it's just really, really funny.
It's very stereotypical film noir, very serious.
And even the loading screens that happen, you have little hints normally in this game.
Oh fuck me, those are great.
Some of those were so funny.
Those are fucking fantastic.
Just had little things about what was one of them. There's it's 5 meters. There's 5 ducks per
1,000 ducks.
per square meter. Or there's something really fun in
Mm.
there. There's one that was like yeah, I should have written
Ducks have
down.
4 times the strength of a rhinoceros or something
Yeah,
stupid like
something
that.
like that. And there's just something in there.
Yeah.
It's something just go. That kind of sounds
I
plausible.
saw him and I just laughed.
Yeah, but
It was
something
fucking funny.
Yeah, they were really good. But whether half them were
I
real, I don't know.
initially,
Yeah.
like the first half of this, because I've got my ongoing notes in my phone for Game of the Year stuff. I put this initially down for best writing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And then I got to the reveals and I'm like, nah, it's coming off.
I think you do it for the dialogue, not for the setting, not for the puzzles. I think they're different things. You got to do it for the dialogue where you're talking to the character and the characters and stuff.
Yeah.
And his dialogue is really, really good.
I do want to try the
but
Golden Idol stuff.
I wouldn't
now.
call the puzzle mechanics dialogue, so I wouldn't.
No, I'm talking the writing as far as the cohesiveness of the actual narrative.
Oh yeah, sure. It just went completely off the rails essentially
Yeah.
towards the end, and it just, as you said, like you got all those. It turns into this massive. Like yeah, he was originally went there to figure out who stole a particular character's lunch, and at the end of that, he actually solved that without even. I think it's not even a puzzle you solve in the end, is it? I don't think you.
No,
do.
you eventually do solve it.
No, but do you actually solve it? You don't do it as a puzzle
Yeah.
mechanic, do you?
Yeah, through a puzzle mechanic.
I don't. God, I only played it with an hour ago.
It was fucking brief in passing because
Must have been.
there's multi-layered conspiracy
Yeah, but-
and the fraud / corruption.
Yeah.
Both of those elements completely overrode it.
Yeah.
But again, that fraud and corruption component being completely dropped and not even having consequences for that
Yeah.
at all. But yeah, like I said, I'd really want to try the Golden Idol stuff now because apparently this is very similar to that.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, I have finally started it, Graham. Dragon's Dogma 2. I said that this was there was 2 games I wanted to try and focus on this holiday: Dragon's Dogma 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know if I'm going to get to touching Ghost of Tsushima this holidays because I'm about 25 hours into this. So I didn't play the first game.
Mhm.
I heard the spoiler for the end, which as a noteworthy moment of the year that came out, and it was fucking bonkers.
Mhm.
And well, I bought the Dark Arisen version of Dragon's Dogma, but I always intended to play it, but just never got to it.
Mhm.
I don't know. For me, I don't think you need the background information of the first one to get anything out of this.
Mhm.
So it basically starts with, hey, this whole kingdom doesn't have a king. What the hell?
Mhm.
Oh, wait, this dude's rocked up and he's the Arisen, which makes him the king. Yay! And then he sits on the throne, then he passes out, and then you get a flashback, and then you wake up going, what the fuck? Where the fuck am I? And you get to become the Arisen, you fight a dragon. The dragon takes his claw, tips it into your chest, pulls your heart out, and the heart flies into his mouth.
Okay.
Yep, pretty much. So, this thing's hell of Japanese.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have. It's not quite as soulsy as I thought it would be, because it's much more action heavy from an action RPG perspective. Like a lot of it is mashing X and Y. There are some abilities that are pretty cool. I'm using the Thief class, which is dual daggers. So you're basically just getting into wah, and he's got this dope ability that he rolls up, does a Blanca ball, and basically spins with these daggers in the air and fucks dudes up. There are abilities where you can dash in and steal stuff from dudes before you kill them. But I've maxed out the class or the vocation of the Thief, and it sort of encourages you to switch vocations and use different classes and stuff like that. But I also don't want to. I like my dual dagger dude just stabbing fools up. And you've got pawns, which one is a persistent one. It stays with you through the whole game. It levels at a slightly different pace than you do. Not much, but just slightly. I accidentally forgot to give my pawn a name. I made her a sorcerer. So she hung back through fire while I just cut dudes up. And when you forget to give them a name, and I I wanted this to happen, but I actually forgot to do this.
Mm.
So it ended up happening accidentally. When you forget to give them a name, it just calls them main pawn, which is pretty great. And then you get these sort of portal-ish sort of stones where you go into this void and you can hire pawns of other players. And they go into your world, and at some point you can go, all right, cool, you can fuck off and hire a different one. And those pawns don't level.
Okay.
So my pawn has been in other people's games, come back with different items because they did shit. And it's like, all right, cool. Story-wise, it's fine. It's pretty good. These sorts of not necessarily these sorts of games, because it's, like I said, it's not quite as from-ish as I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I always tend to forget the main story in like Elden Ring and shit like that because I'm so focused on trying not to suck and trying to actually do well in the combat. The different jobs or different quests that I've gotten have had really satisfying sort of story through lines. Some of the quests aren't indicated at all as far as who the fuck you need to go see, where you need to go to see them, stuff like that. And it's like, what am I meant to do? And you look up, I found the answers online, but it's like, how the fuck do these people find this shit? And I had one where I had a quest to like go back and check on this town like every so often. And as I did, I actually got an update to a different quest that I didn't even intend to get because the character I was looking for, she just happened to be in this town.
Okay.
I was like, what the fuck? So I would have liked them to maybe signpost that or direct that a little bit better. But otherwise, I'm really enjoying it. Like, you get it's enough open world where there's always the joke in open world game trailers or presentations was like, see that mountain? You can go there. Like, you can do that. You can't climb those mountains. You can find eventually a way up to some of them, but not all of them. But they're a little bit more limited, and you've got different pathways and bridges to cross between land masses and things like that. It's great when you camp because you can prepare meat, like in Breath of the Wild, how you can cook shit. But it seemed like it would be more expensive to animate it, so they just did an FMV of like steak cooking on a frying pan. And it's fucking fantastic. And like after a fight, sometimes one of your pawns will hold their hand out and you walk past and you give them a high five. And you can pick Danny or anyone up and throw them off a cliff. And if you throw them in the water, there's this thing called the brine, which is basically weird, like ethereal tentacles that basically kill them. So I've thrown a couple of dipshits into the brine because they pissed me off. Only I thought I'd killed them proppers and no one reacted. I was like, sweet, I've gotten away with killing this dude for nothing. And then I reloaded into the game and the dude was back. I was like, oh, that bummed me out. But I'm really enjoying this so far. I mean, I'm sticking with it. I intend to play more of it this coming week. And we'll see whether I finish it before I'm back at work. And then, yeah, fortunately, outside of Ghost of Tsushima, most of the other games I have on deck are relatively shorter experiences, like less than 10 hours, by all reports. So that will be good for during the term, for weekends and stuff like that. And then go from there. Turbo Kid is technically, it's a video game follow-up of a movie from the 80s, number one. So that's weird. It's a Metroidvania, well, search action Metroidvania, sort of interchangeable terms there, where you're a dude in this wasteland, futuristic wasteland, but you have a BMX bike. And when you do jumps, you can do tricks and get points, and it's fucking violent. You shoot these dudes, and they blow up in blood and guts. Remember how I talked a bunch about Laker, Age Through Blood last year? For Game of the Year? Basically this, but you can get off the bike.
Okay, yep.
Only that was way more sort of drawn art style. This is very much pixel art. So that's pretty cool. The music is really quite nice. That synth wavy style, that very 80s style. Yeah, synth heavy. Like, that's not how that goes. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
I did find a sort of secret room or cave with like 3 dudes in it listening to some death metal.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. But then you leave the room and the music stops. And then I was disappointed. But this thing's really, really cool. I've played about 8.5 hours. So let's see if I can remember the story here. You're a guy, you're the Turbo Kid. They just call him Kid. You wake up in a town after falling off a cliff, and you have to find these weapon cartridges or weapon cards in order to open this door for some weird futuristic religious cult type deal, or to escape. And then it's about going through these different environments to try and find the boss who has the weapon card, and then beat them, and then opening up different abilities to traverse the map in different ways and stuff like that. It's a very good one of these. Mm-hmm. I'm digging it. The bike stuff adds just enough difference to that traditional search action vibe. The explicitness of the violence is really funny, but yeah, it is a very, very good one of these. The ability to get on and off the bike at will is handy for navigation, but when you look at it from an originality perspective, because Leica stayed on the bike the whole time outside of being in the main home camp, there's that a little bit extra layer of originality in that game. But obviously the traversal and trying to find different secrets and rooms and all that sort of stuff on foot makes it a bit easier in this. But fuck me, it was hard early on. I kept dying a bunch, and it does that old school thing where it doesn't keep anything after you if you've saved before dying. Like if you go reveal a bunch, like you save, reveal a bunch of map, get a collectible, all this sort of shit, then you die. You go back to that save spot, and none of it's been saved. I'm like, fuck. Which, again, relatively quote-unquote classic convention of the game, of the genre. Mm-hmm. But, is what it is. But this one's very, very good. I'm going to try and finish this as well over the course of the next week. The First Descendant came out earlier this week. I did a checkout of it. That was the game I streamed the checkout of on Friday. It'll be up by the time people hear this or see this. Games of service, Graham? Live games? Mm-hmm. Games where you shoot stuff and get loot? Mm-hmm. This is one of them.
Oh, cool.
And it's very much a very one of them. Like, the gameplay, the actual playing the game, shooting things is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. It's, really quite enjoyable. But fuck, the trappings around it are very one of those. I feel like in the first half hour, 45 minutes, I may have stopped and watched more cutscenes than I actually played.
Okay, yep.
So that was kind of annoying. And then it's very Destiny to an extent where you get dropped in this land, like this environment, and it's much more condensed than Destiny. It's not quite as wide open. And you go to these little droids and you go, hey, give me a mission. And it's a fucking 2-minute mission. It's, hey, go here, kill this. All right, mission done. And you end up getting a couple of longer missions that end in boss fights that are about 20 minutes long. But like I said, the playing of it is really quite fun. But fuck me, everything around it. There's I don't know how many different currencies, different XP elements. I did see a lot of criticism or reports. It is free to play.
So that's obvious that it's going to have that stuff in it. So it's not a surprise.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Not a surprise that it's there.
No. But that's what I was about to say is there's been a fair bit of criticism, or at least reporting of criticism, that it's quote unquote pay to win. Where the checkout ended up being about 2 hours long. I never ran across any elements where I didn't feel like I could progress without buying something. But that could be further down the line. To a point where I don't know if I'm going to play this enough to actually see this. I'm probably not. But what I played was fun enough. I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. I don't know. Not okay enough for me to probably keep going because the trappings around it are kind of fucked, but whatever. I really should have asked if you wanted to look at this. Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, had a demo come out.
Mm-hmm.
Capcom did one of those little 20-minute sort of quote-unquote E3 window videos where they didn't really announce much of anything outside of, hey, we're redoing Dead Rising because... And that's about all they announced off the top of my head. But a demo for this came out. And when we did the Summer Game Fest, both of us sat there going, what the fuck is this?
Was it this? Is that game that we... Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's that hell of Japanese game
okay.
that is really pretty, but has, like, what the fuck it is made no sense whatsoever. I actually found out what it is by playing the demo. It's an action strategy-ish tower defense.
Oh, okay.
The princess is the tower. You cut a path where she moves down eventually towards this door. You're moving around these in this sort of very regimented environment, very small piecemeal environment. Finding and releasing some of the villages. You don't get as many villages as you release. And you get crystals that allow you to assign roles to them, whether it be woodcutter, so they have an axe and they can just fucking hit dudes with an axe. Archer you unlock, so that they have bow and arrow. So during the day, you're going around finding these trapped villages. You're carving the path for the princess to walk down. And then at night, all these monsters come out and try to attack the princess. You have a sword.
Yep.
You can do weird stuff with the sword that puts ethereal streamers on your sword and fucking fling it around and shit. And the combat's very, very simple, but it's basically kind of mobile tower, not mobile as in phone, but because the princess can walk, mobile tower defense, and yeah, it's that.
There's no towers you're putting in.
There's no tower. The tower is the princess.
Yeah,
and then you can sort of strategize by moving the villages.
We did a tower defense game the other day, and that had you putting towers that were trying to attack the things walking in. That's not this. You're not putting guns in place to attack enemies that try and attack her.
The villages are those guns.
Oh, okay.
So by assigning roles to the villages, you can make them you have where I got to for in the demo, I ended up having 4 villages. I made 2 of them axe woodcutters and 2 of them archers. Put the archers back and covering different paths from a bit further back, and then the woodcutters and me were just hitting these guys and killing them. But that part's fairly basic and fairly simple. Even after playing it, fucking everything else makes no sense. You get this part where, okay, you're releasing the spell that's on the main door that's blocking you, and then all of a sudden it breaks into this choral fucking dance cutscene where people are doing this, and then all of a sudden the spell breaks and everyone's happy again. And I'm like, what? People can see this reaction in real time. I played it for about an hour on the Friday show, on Friday Night Fun. I didn't intend to play it for that long, but fuck. I had to know what was going on. The number of times I sat there going, what in the fuck is going on? I don't know how much Japanese culture or Japanese historical culture they're pulling from for this, but this ninja dude had streamers on his sword, and then they were fucking doing this and dancing around and dispelling evil spirits or some shit. I don't know. It's fucking weird. And it's out in 2 weeks. I do not know how this game is going to do.
Oh, because it'll find a niche and it'll be fine, basically.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be the big release that maybe Capcom's hoping for. But they've also got their Resident Evil, Street Fighter, Monster Hunter to be that. To see Capcom put a game out like this in 2024, is really, really heartening. That they're not just ultra targeted on the biggest and most mainstream success. But it's also kind of weird that this thing's coming out.
It's also a bit weird it's coming out in the West as well. That's a game you would think might come out and just stay in Japan, but yeah.
And yeah, like I said, it's hell of Japanese. But
Mm.
I didn't think to do this. I should have changed all the dialogue to Japanese and just have the English subtitles. That would have been way more appropriate, like I did with Sekiro.
Mm.
But I didn't realize that, and you can only change the language from the main menu.
Yeah, okay.
So that was weird. I have one other thing that is not a game.
Mm-hmm.
This.
Mm-hmm.
It's a box. Well, it's a case. Sometimes, Graham, I get bored.
Mm-hmm.
We know this. When I get bored, I spend money.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spent money on controllers a few times. So I bought this. The Victrix Gambit. I want to say Victrix Gambit Pro. A lot of reviews really talk up its customization options. So it comes with 2 different gates. So where the stick is, it's either circular or hexagonal.
Mm-hmm.
You can change the D-pad, you can change the stick, you can change the shell on it. So this is a plastic shell,
mm-hmm.
and this is more of a silicone-based shell.
Okay, yep.
Now, number one, the silicone-based shell comes off really easy.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Almost too easy. And you just click it on, and it's got little magnets in there, it clicks, and it's fine. Holy fuck, this thing is a piece of shit. It has a slightly weird hand feel to it. There's a weird sense of proportion to it that's unusual. There's these switches at the back that are basically trigger stops, but not like the Elite controller where you can tell it where to trigger stop. You pull the trigger down. Oh shit! Yeah, you push the button, and it automatically does that. But you can also customize where you want the trigger to stop.
Okay. Yep.
The triggers and buttons are the flimsiest, plasticky, cheap piece of shit I've ever handled. Almost in a controller. The sticks feel okay. The D-pad feels alright too. But this white plastic shell, again, much like the triggers and the bumpers, feels ultra cheap and just shit. But then you put the silicone shell on, it actually doesn't sit as nicely as the plastic one does. So it's really easy to just accidentally lift this. But it's got the silicone on it makes the traversal of the sticks a little bit more pleasant. But it just feels fucking cheap and shit. In a way that's really disappointing. I don't know. I don't like it. I literally tried playing Dragon's Dogma 2 with it twice, and less than 5-10. I couldn't deal with it for less than 5 or 10 minutes.
So why'd you buy it?
Hey?
Why'd you buy it?
I don't know. I saw a review of it, and there was one review that said it was good, so I looked it up, and I don't know, it was $100. So I said, fuck it, and bought it.
Okay. I'm not going to say anything.
We know I'm stupid. Hey, at least it wasn't 4,000 like the graphics card.
At least the graphic card get something out of it.
Yeah, I did.
At least it'll
we got something out of it. We got content.
Okay.
I don't think it's very good. I literally after about 5-10 minutes, I yanked that out and put the what's this one? The Game Sir back in.
God, I just think there's nothing wrong with the good old Elite.
No, well, my Elites keep breaking.
Oh, okay. Well, that's that.
I've had every version of an Elite I've had has fucked up within a couple of weeks, so I've just given up.
Okay.
But yeah, this Game Sir one I've got has the mechanical switches under the buttons, which is really nice. But this one, there it is, over there. It's on the floor now. Yeah, I don't like it. It's not very good. But I don't know. There's plenty of controllers out there, and I like buying controllers for different feel, just play differently. I've got that 8-bit Do Ultimate Hall Effects, the Hall Effects stick 8-bit Do Ultimate for my laptop. And yeah, I've got the Game Surfer in here. I don't know. Sometimes it's nice to just have a different controller and just fuck around. And that's me.
Okay.
And like I said, must listen a bit later.
All right. I've only got 3 games, 2 of which we've already talked about, or one we've already talked about. So I have finished the main story of Horizon Forbidden West. I've seen the massively long credit sequence that is that game for that game. It's actually a really nice credit sequence. I like it. It's actually kind of nice when it sort of has Aloy flying through the world on the back of a sunbeam. It's really cool. Nice. I like it. And I've done most of all the side stuff, and I've just started the not the Forbidden West, the
Burning Shores.
Burning Shores DLC, which goes off to actually goes to Los Angeles. Is this where that's set? You've done that, haven't you? You did that as part of the PS5, didn't you?
I didn't buy it.
I didn't buy it. Oh, okay. Yeah. So basically, yeah, I think now that game's been out for a couple of years, even though it's just on PC. Like finish the main storyline, and then that immediately branches into the quest icon coming up to go to the Burning Shores thing. So I did a bunch of side stuff that I hadn't finished off, and then I've now just started that. It's interesting. It's in a completely different area, so you actually go to it and travel out of it. So it's not part of the main map, so you can't get. I assume I can probably travel back to it, but it might say you can't do this for I don't know. So you just go across to it. It's a relatively decent sized map from what I've done so far. It's probably got, I reckon it's probably at the same size as that. I think it's probably roughly the same size as the desert area from the main area, if that makes sense. Around the Las Vegas inspired setting, which name escapes me, Ember something. It's about that big. It seems to have at least one new collectible thing. You've got a Pangea figurine, which I've not gone and get yet, but it's come up on the map to do that. So that might be the collectible things to do in this area. It's got its own, in the actual game, it's got its own progression screen, and it's the stat screen, so it's like a completely separate thing. So it's got its own progression percentage and that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I've literally only just started it, so I can't comment much more on the story of it, but it does seem interesting. And I think that I'd be surprised if we don't see a third game in this series at some point in the next 3 to 4 years. They've definitely set up for one, that's for sure. Whether they do it's a different question, but they've definitely set up for one after the end of the.
Do you think they quote unquote need to? Is this like a Last of Us Part 2 that wasn't really needed?
Well, at least with the Last of Us Part 2 wasn't needed, but at least with this one, there was a setup that there is they could do there is a logical thing they could do to have a third game base around. Whereas there wasn't that for Last of Us. Well, that game ended, as far as I'm concerned, very neatly. Bit ambiguous, bit ambiguous, but not ambiguous.
At the end of the first one, definitely.
Yeah, a bit ambiguous that they could have done a sequel. They didn't need to do a sequel. There was nothing obvious they could do a sequel with it. But with the end of the first game, there clearly was. They literally set it up with that last cutscene of the last one, and they've done it with the same with this one. So they could definitely do a third game. I think it might. I'm not sure what they could do in the third game that would, other than just being a third game of the same series.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they could do to make it different, stand out, whatever word you want to use. Because I mean, the only thing they've really done with the big thing with this game, with this Forbidden West, was machines can now swim, which is another one. The machines could swim, and you can now in this game you could mount flying machines. They're the two big mechanic changes they probably did.
And they made it like 3 times the size.
3 times the size, and made it bigger. They also, I think with this game, they definitely had more involvement of the side characters because they were actually pretty closely involved in the story. In that you needed them to. This was not one that Aloy could do on her own, whereas the first game was primarily she was doing it all on her own with a bit of help. But with this one, there's no way the way they set up the missions and stuff, she could not have done it on her own. So there was sort of a bit of a Mass Effect style side quest structure where you're doing
loyalty missions
to them. So, which I kind of enjoy. I think the characters in that game are actually the big appeal to me. I really like the characters they had in that game. Erin's really good. I think great characters. Zoe's really good. Val's really good. and the new characters they're introducing this one, like
The clone.
the clone, and uh, Alva, I think her name was, of the Queen one. I can't remember. I think that's his name. And Cthulhu, I think that's how you pronounce his character's name. They're just very interesting in what they are. So I think they've had a lot. I really actually did enjoy the story part of it a lot more than I think I enjoyed the first one. I think. I think because those extra characters that they brought into it and that mixture of that stuff, I think just made it just a little bit. Better is not the right term to use, but that's kind of what I just think it was a better. It's a better story because of that other character stuff in it.
I just hope if they go a third one, they don't try and fucking triple the size of this.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not too sure that's necessarily what they need to do with it. Like, I can understand.
This took me 80 to 90 hours.
Well, this already. I'm already up about 100. I've already just gone into the DLC. So, yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, in terms of mechanics, they were basically the same.
Yep.
You're still shooting the machines. You've still got to shoot off the components to make them explode and stuff like that, and do more damage.
You can still get to a point where you have absolutely no need to do that at some point in the game because you're so leveled. You have done everything.
I did the last mission. I think is a level 32. I think something like that, 30 something. And I was 61.
Oh, does the DLC up the level cap? Does it?
I must do because I think the game originally was 50, but
I capped at 50 like a good 15, 20 hours before the game finished.
So I've gone to 60. I'm now on 64, I think, going to 65. So it just when the level cap hits the level cap, it turns into just 100,000 XP to level up. Whereas in the main game, it was just basically the level number you wanted to get to, was that's how much XP you needed. So, whereas this one just a hard coded 100,000 every time.
I didn't realize that Carrie-Anne Moss did the voice of the
I was looking
precursor race lady.
I was looking through the characters and Carrie-Anne Moss. I wouldn't have.
I just let the fucking credits run. I didn't even pick it there. I saw it in a review, for the PC version.
I looked it up on IMDb because I was just curious who the actors were, and would not have picked that as being Carrie-Anne Moss out of a.
Oh hey, it's Trinity.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Would not have picked it up at all. So.
Do a flip and take me to Neo.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's like I think I do like that game a lot. What they're doing a sequel? Don't know.
Well, it's going to be particularly because the main adversarial factor was voiced by Lance Reddick.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing I found in the Burning Shores DLC. I've just stumbled across it just late last night when I was playing it. There's like a hologram memorial thing to it.
Yeah, they added a tribute after he died.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you can do anything with it. It just seems to be in the environment, just to be there, I think. But yeah, it must have been I hit that. I thought, oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
I mean, they did some obviously different mediums, but they did something very similar with Chadwick Boseman in the sequel, the Black Panther sequel.
Yeah.
Destiny acknowledged it and have Keith David revoicing that role.
Yeah.
There's only what can you do when you have such an integral part of your universe and game pass away the way that happened?
Yeah.
You kind of have to find a way to deal with it, and most of the time it's dealt with quite respectfully.
Yeah, I mean the kind of advantage that this game's got is they don't have to. They can keep the model because that's in the game. So it's really the voice acting that you have to think about, whether you change the voice.
The model is basically him.
Well, basically, 100% it is. Like, there's no doubt about it.
I would feel weird about Keith David's voice coming out of a Lance Reddick model. That'd be fucking creepy.
I'm not saying that's what you do, but I mean the thing now is with AI, they just just with AI they just make the AI do the voice, so they could probably do it. But I think that's something you'd want to, as a developer, you'd be running that past the family to see if they're okay with them doing that sort of thing, or whether they have to come up with some story-based mission thing to somehow replace the character in some way. I don't know.
you Fast and Furious it, retcon it. He's got a secret son, and that's Keith David.
Yeah, I mean that's it. You've got to do something. You've got to do some story based thing
Mm.
to. I mean, the fact is, like they've got this game's based on very futuristic tech that's in this game.
Yeah.
So they can. I think they could probably quite easily come up with some sort of a fairly believable in law thing for either changing the voice or keeping the voice. Either way,
Yeah.
they've got a way around that. I think they've got something they can do for that. Satisfactory, still playing that, of course. That has now got a 1.0 release date.
I was gonna ask. I was like, "There's no way you don't already know this." I was gonna go, "Yo, are you aware? Hey, have you seen the two big things they're working towards?"
What 1.0 and flushable
No,
toilets?
no. Well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Easier to manufacture computers and flushable toilets.
Yep, that's the computer
Fucking
thing.
A.
The computer thing's actually interesting because that's the recipe for that is an absolute pain in the ass.
So they must be fixing that.
Well, they're not. They're basically they're changing the recipe for computers to remove screws from it.
Okay.
And even though that might sound sort of not much to worry about,
The computers are all going to fall apart now.
yeah, the fact that they're doing it is actually a pretty big thing because it basically means I'm just looking up here in a second. So yes, you need to supply 130 screws a minute just for the base level.
Fuck.
And to make screws of that at that level, it takes rods, which then can be so you got to have iron ore, you got to turn that into iron ingots, you got to turn that into iron rods, and then turn that into screws. So the 3 or 4 step process just to make screws and make that a high volume.
Sounds fucked.
The things that they're moving their way is actually it's an interesting balancing thing they're doing because it is a pretty significant change. And I've got a pretty significant factory set up just to build fucking screws. So,
Jesus Christ.
So it's interesting now that they've done that. My next video on Solar Factory will be interesting because I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do preparing for that 1.0 release as to what that means to my factory. It's not a big change, I don't think, realistically, for me. Like, it's okay. It just makes it, I've got one less thing to have to sort of feed into it, but because obviously not obviously, but supercomputers also need computers. So to make supercomputers, you need computers. Therefore, you need screws to make the computers to put into supercomputers. You've got that whole train you've got to do, and yeah, so it's interesting how they've changed that. That's probably from the recipe recipe factor. That's what they've done. That's big. They're also talking about that they're going to move some of the nodes around, which they do every time they do an update. Every now and then they'll move a couple of resource nodes around.
Yeah, okay. I'm seeing that in this article.
One of the other things they're doing as well that's probably has the potential to be a pretty big impact is they're changing some of the purity natures of some of the existing ones. So if you've got a factory that's built around a pure node of something, and they take it down to impure, that's a massive kick.
Yeah, it's gonna fuck things.
That's massive. So, it's interesting. As I said, we talked about it in the last episode. I've put in like 1,700 hours into that game. It's all been on one save. Whether I go and start again with a new save,
or maybe just do the quote unquote campaign.
Well, the campaign, I think the campaign now is the fact I've done. I think it's probably essentially passed me by. I'm not too sure for someone who's at my point whether I can hook into whatever campaign/story they're doing.
Or is the campaign basically just a tutorial?
Well, the campaign is basically from what campaign as it is basically you're building materials or items to send up the space elevator to whatever fucks up above the sky or in the atmosphere or whatever.
Heaven.
That's really what you're doing in the main. That's the progress through the campaign. But that's just saying do this next step, do this next step. There's no story component. There's no cutscenes per se around any of the
Oh.
stuff. It just says you've done this bunch of machines. Okay, now do the next bunch.
But are you then just sending screws to heaven?
Kind of. Well, not really. Not that's not one of the things you're spending, but basically, you're essentially
That's fucking weird.
you're basically just sending stuff to the heaven. Basically, you're building really high end components. Like there's a thing called an adaptive control unit. You build that and you put a thousand of them into the space elevator. Send them up the space elevator. That's it. That's it. That's
To what end?
I don't know. Must be building
okay.
must be building something. Which I guess is where the story is going to come in. Maybe they're going to put some. Maybe look, it's entirely possible that at the beginning of the game they said we're building stuff with this. I fucking
okay.
It's 1700 hours. It was just really 4 years ago since they did it. So
Yeah.
that's probably why if I was going to do it, 5. I mean, I probably would just start a new save just to do that from the beginning, just to understand what the fuck why I'm doing all this stuff for. And keep
I literally just had a thought of like,
going. But yeah, don't know.
I just had a thought of like the South Park thing where they've got Kim Jong-il up in heaven because Satan doesn't want to deal with him and he's building a factory of weapons of mass destruction in heaven. So you're just accomplishing that. You're sending materials up to heaven to help Kim Jong-il create weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's literally the only piece of news I've seen this week that's even remotely relevant to us. Yeah. My other question, is there any way that Satisfactory doesn't be our number 1 game of the year?
Yes, I mean, I think you'd have to. What we should actually do is have you and I do a solo, have a multiplayer, because it's got multiplayer built into it. It's got multiplayer in it. We probably should do a multiplayer thing and just see what it's like.
I mean, I'll be like. Given how long this thing has kicked around, the amount of time, like for me, it's always been this factor of the year it hits 1.0 is the year it will be probably recognized as Graham's game of the year. I don't know why. I don't know why I air quoted your name rather than game of the year. That was fucking weird. Graham doesn't exist. Graham is all of us. Graham is a figment of our imagination. He doesn't exist. And then it was just going to be, okay, that's the should I play this game of the year for 2020 blank. Which, hey, if that works out that way, that's fine.
Yeah.
It was always going to happen. I don't have anything that I've even remotely put close to 1,700 hours in, and I think it's Apex in about 900.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll see how it goes at the end of the year.
But yeah, I mean, look, it's... They did a little short trailer to what's there. That's the thing that Coffee Stain do. I don't follow a lot of I'm not following a lot of games in early access like I have followed this one as closely. But their community management stuff is the best I've ever seen in any game, regardless of if it's early access or not. And they do these little trailers, which is probably what you've probably seen it, where they have this character running through the environment.
I've never really watched them because, like, I know I don't have the mind or the brain for this sort of automation component. Like, the city building.
Just watch the trailer. You'll get a yeah.
I sneeze.
Good save.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, so there did appear to be a new machine in the background of the trailer though, which is interesting.
Oh, okay.
So they might be putting, because they're going to 1.0. They're going to do a bunch. They've done the big rebalance of that computer recipe. I think they're going to do the minor ones. They're doing some node stuffing around, as I said. They're introducing flushable toilets, which has been something the community's wanted for ages. I don't give a shit, to be honest.
Why the fuck do they need flushable toilets when there's no people using a toilet?
Well, that's kind of there's a toilet in the hub. The thing you build in the beginning of the game is a hub. It's basically where you go to do stuff. There's a toilet in there, and that's the community.
But do you relieve yourself in said toilet?
No, well you can now. You couldn't before.
Wait, does that mean you can either take a piss or take a shit?
I have no idea what they're going to do with it. They just said they've got flushable toilets. I have no idea. So we'll find out on the what is it? Was September 10th? I think there's whatever the date was.
Less than 2 months.
Yeah, it's not that far away.
And also I didn't mention it in the games I played, but also on the Friday show played a game called Leave Me Alone, I Need to Poop. I don't know how I find some of these fucking games. It was great though. It was fucking
yeah.
funny.
And my last game is the Duck Detective Circus Army is.
Oh yeah, what do you reckon of that?
Yeah, that's got a big deep dive. I thought we'd do before we dive into the beginning and end. Let's do a bit.
Should we do it during in the beginning of the end?
No, I want to do it as a separate thing, so we'll do it.
Okay.
Do it as a separate thing. What we thought we'd do before we dive into the beginning and end is have a 6 monthly half yearly review. We're just in the beginning of July.
Are you going to change the shot so it's both of both?
Give me a second.
Yep. Or have you actually prepared something?
Oh God, no, hell no.
All right. Makes me feel less lazy.
I'll probably do it at some level, but yeah. So we thought we'd just do a bit of a review of the games we've played this year so far. If any of them are going to likely be on a top 10 list when we get to them, might be on those lists.
Have you got the site up?
I can bring in what do you want me to bring up?
I know I saw it this morning. Just the numbers.
Oh, the number of games and stuff. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've. So
I know it's fucking.
We use basically a website that I've created to help us track stuff and make it easy for us to manage all these bits and shit that we do. So we've had. This is our 12th episode of the year. And we've had 103 unique games talked about in the podcasts.
Okay, I was going to say that doesn't count video, does it?
No, video is a different thing. I haven't got that stat. We haven't kept that stat specific at the moment. But we'll eventually.
And
get
there's
there.
also needing to link games to the videos and doing all that shit to be able to make an accurate count.
Make an accurate count. So that's why I won't bother referencing that number.
Yeah.
In terms of the breakdown between you and I, it's probably a 80-20 split. 80% yours, 20% me, give or take, something like that. It's actually very close. Might even be 20 and 80. Might be exactly that. So what I can actually do this though. If I go and change to wrong mouse.
Nice.
If I do that, I can do this. So this is the game.
Boom!
This is the games that I've played this year. And the episode which they're mentioned in. This is all the stuff we use. So some of these are demos, so they're not actually out games yet. So this is the games I've played, regardless of what they are, early access or demos or whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, Satisfactory is going to be high at my list. So will Duck Detective. Horizon Forbidden West clearly will be up there.
Yep.
Assuming though some of these games come out, I think Airborne Empire has the potential. We're going to try and do a check out of that, hopefully today, if not next week. I Am Future, I think, will be up there as well.
Is there any idea as far as if that's getting a release?
So they've released a content update for it about a month or so ago, which actually opened up an area that had been closed off before. So whether that means they're going to a 1.0 this year, I don't know. But they're doing content for it, which is good, I guess. But whether they're looking at 1.0 yet, I'm not too sure what their plan is for that. So
0.5.1 was their last quote-unquote hotfix number.
Yeah, so that
probably halfway through.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, they've done a big update in April, which added that new area in, as I mentioned, and then they have added in solar power in a recent patch as well. So they've added more content to it. I probably will jump into it at some point in the next couple of weeks and just see what that content looks like. But yeah, that's what. Dave the Diver was DLC, so that doesn't kind of count. You'll probably have.
Did I say I played that?
I know you did it on a stream. I know that, but whether you.
Yeah, I did it on one of the Friday shows.
Yeah, I don't know if you've actually referenced it yet.
Nah, that thing's pretty good.
That's good. Lightyear Frontier will probably be high on our collective list somewhere, I suspect. Just because
Super Video Golf. If we do a best old game, Super Video Golf will probably be on there.
For sure.
Oh, I'm hanging for that new update they're doing. God damn it.
What else is on my list? Chalice Principle 2 will be high on my list for obvious reasons. Played a lot of that.
Best old game? Best non-2024 game?
2024 game, yep. Sea of Stars will probably be in that same group as well.
Mm.
Prince of Persia: Lost the Crown will probably be on your list high, I
Fuck.
suspect.
Yep. Oh, have you not played much more of that?
No, I fell off it relatively quickly for some reason.
Yeah.
Not really sure why.
I dug that.
Plague Requiem, if I get back to it, will probably join the non-2024 list a fair bit. Yeah, that's probably all I've really got. So that, and then in terms of what's coming up, there's really Assassin's Creed and Star Wars, the big ones that are coming up in terms of big releases, big releases. Um, from the smaller releases, like there's a bunch of, I mean, pretty much every game I've got on my wish list is now on our list. Probably the big one this month is you've got Angerfoot in
Fuck yeah.
about a week, bit under a week. I've got The Crust, which is a city builder set on the moon, which I think I played a demo of that a while back. I recall. I thought it was, I think it's pretty cool. And just Salt, Steam and Cinder looks like a very interesting platform style game, which I think I'll probably have an interest in, just because it looks different in some weird way. If it's really odd to describe that. And Flintock: The Siege of Dawn. Have you played the demo of that?
No, I'm waiting till that comes out.
Yeah, I'm gonna play the demo. That actually seems to be getting some pretty decent buzz, I think, from what I can sort of tell, or promising buzz, I should say.
One game I forgot to add to that, because it actually is coming out before the end of this month, is A Ranger, a role puzzle adventure.
A Ranger, you say?
Yes. I forgot that was coming out this month. I forgot the fucking name of it, so it's not on the upcoming games list.
Alright, when you get a chance to go and edit, yeah. Yeah, so that's probably where I'm at the moment in terms of the games I'll be looking at playing. Let me just cut to. If I can find. Wait, I've got two mouses here because I've got two computers to work on. Cut back to that for a second while I change this, and I'll bring up your list. So let's cut back to that. So this is your list of games.
Yep.
So basically, this is in reverse order of podcasts, essentially. So that's why these ones we talked about today are on the list. So what sticks out for you?
So, helpfully, I've actually got.
You've actually got your own list there.
Oh, what the fuck? I don't know why Drive Rally's there, because I accidentally added it and then I took it off. I've already got a note, like I said, in my phone for Game of the Year stuff. And I've got, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 games that are currently on it.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't include best, like, sort of old stuff like Super Video Golf.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
just that would be on your Game of the Year list would be,
yeah. Little Guardsman, I really fucking enjoyed. I had that just really good spin, a really clever spin on the Papers, Please concept, just really cleverly written.
Mm-hmm.
I really dug that. Prince of Persia, we already mentioned it. Tekken 8 was fucking great. Anomaly Agent, I've got Pacific Drive, I've got Balatro, Promenade, Banishers, Bears in Space, Euphoria 2, Mini Shoot Adventures, Yellow Taxi goes vroom, Hex Guardian, and Turbo Kid are the other. Oh, fucking Pesticide not required. Shit, forgot about that.
What about? I just saw it a second ago. Where'd it go? That game, didn't that? Banishers.
Yeah, I said Banishers.
Did you? I said it. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, I said Banishers.
Oh, 64. That's the other one I thought. 64, not in your list.
Not necessarily on my list. I did restart that. And relaid out the factory and everything else around that. But it just got to a point where digging further down and going deeper, it just became way too much of a grind, way too much of a waiting game. Ball Blasters would be up there, but it's really quite small and really, for lack of a better term, limited. It's a great little experience, and it plays fucking awesome. But it's not going to be on a top 10 for me. Whereas, what else we got? And pretty much all of that's from the first episode, which was all the games I played in the holidays.
Like last year.
Pony Factory was the first 2024 game I played, which is that first-person shooter by David Zumanzik, or whoever made Dusk. That thing was really cool, but Yeah, right now it's got about 14 games for my quote unquote game of the year, and there's a bunch of shit I haven't played yet, and there's just so much. There's a lot of things coming that I'm looking forward to as well.
Yeah,
Um,
that's yeah. So I was just looking at I've got a lot of games on the upcoming list that don't have dates yet, but they're all
mm.
theoretically meant to be this year. On theory. Have you played Once Human yet? It's not out. It's not out for
No, that
okay.
was a demo. It ended up the demo for that ended up expiring.
Oh, did it? Oh, bugger. I hope it demo.
Yeah,
That's annoying. Okay.
yeah, the demo expired. I was gonna do either the big long checkouts that I normally do of the Next Fest stuff, or we were gonna look at it. And again, I was sick, so
Okay.
it just didn't end up happening.
Mm.
Um, so that was one that expired that I never got to.
Mm.
A lot of this stuff's not out yet. That's on here.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to Steamwood Heist 2.
Mm.
I started.
Dungeons of Hinterberg. I think looked fucking awesome when they showed it.
Mm.
And that like Bow Path of the Teal Lotus. Conscript is I had the demo for that, and then I'll play the actual full version of that. That if I was to sit here and run through every game I'm interested in, we'll be here for fucking ages. Oh, Plucky Squire is meant to be out this year. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, hopefully it is, because that looks really, really
Oh,
good.
God.
Yeah, so of the big ones, I'm looking for Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws. They're the big two that stand out. I don't think there's any others that are big like that. I can't think of anything. That's all that really comes to mind from the sort of the big tentpole releases. That's hopefully all of the various city builds and stuff that I've got on my wish list that hopefully actually come out, because some of them look really promising.
There are a couple others, I think, that are coming out later this year that I've fucking spaced on, because there's just so many things I've got lined up. World of Goo? World of Goo 2?
Yeah, no, I didn't play. Wasn't a big fan of the first one. Not that it was bad or anything. I just didn't play a lot of it.
Okay, fair enough. Oh man, I'm not gonna bog down in all the games. Cat Quest 3, fucking let's go! Oh, I'm so psyched for Cat Quest 3. What the fuck? That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Isekai Chronicles. That's a fucking fantastic name. Dredge is getting new content. That should be. What do you reckon about Concord?
What's that one? Oh, that's the
shooter, the trailer, the competitive shooter that Sony's got coming. It was very Guardians of the Galaxy in the trailer.
doesn't. I mean, I vaguely recall it. Doesn't appeal to me much at all.
Core-Keeper is Core-Keeper coming out in August? Weird. I didn't know that had a date. Cool. Black Myth Wukong is one I'm fucking really looking forward to. Another sort of Souls-likey game that looks really rad. Caravan Sandwich, which we looked at. I really want to check out that full game.
Yeah, has that got a date?
Good call. Caravan Sand. There we go. 7th of June. That's not right.
No, up at the demo.
2024.
Okay, so no date yet. Yeah.
No proper date on that yet. Star Wars Outlaws, I'm really hopeful comes through rad. Stalker 2. When we're talking big games, because there's stuff like Parcel Core, which I'm really looking forward to. But I'm going to focus more on big games for what I'm looking forward to for the rest of this year. Purely because if I don't, we'll be here for fucking ages. Stalker 2, I hope comes through, because that's faced a lot of shit in its development. Astrobot. Fuck yeah. An actual reason to turn my PlayStation 5 on and play a game on it. Wild Bastards, the follow-up to Void Bastards, even though, like I said, that's more of an indie game. That's still something I'm really looking forward to. Same with UFO 50. I will probably play some, maybe get to God of War Ragnarok on its PC release. Possibly. Because did you play any of that on PlayStation?
I played it and got so annoyed at yeah. No, I played it, but
Alright.
then stopped. I have.
The Diablo expansion comes out early October.
Mhm.
So that'll be something hopefully really awesome. I'm curious of this Silent Hill 2 remake, but everything I've heard people say about it, a lot of people just have doubts on if it's going to shit the bed.
Mm.
What else is there? November, Mario and Luigi. Oh, Zelda. Obviously, I already said Zelda.
Mm.
I'm looking forward to that.
Mhm.
Slitterhead. I'd need to see what that ends up being. Like, because that trailer during I think the Microsoft one looked fucking weird, but it didn't really show off what it actually is. We've talked Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
Lego Horizon Adventures.
Oh yeah, that's this year. I'll look forward to that.
December, apparently.
Yeah.
TBA for December, but apparently this year in December.
Yeah, apparently this year, yeah.
As far as like big, or not big, but as far as bigger games that aren't, because if we start digging into the indie games, like I said, we'll be here for another half an hour. Possibly also Life is Strange, Double Exposure.
Mm.
The new Life is Strange. I really enjoyed that first Life is Strange. Tell me why. Ended up going for free on Steam for a period of time, so I ended up downloading that. I just haven't touched it yet. Hey Graham, Super Mario Party Jamboree. Wow. Moving on. Yeah. From big games, I think we've covered most of the big games that are going to be worthwhile. Like I said, Zelda. That fucking trailer looks so cool. Yeah. There's a fucking Funko game coming. Funko Fusion. Fuck off. What do you like? Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. Are you like another open world driving game, but Test Drive Unlimited doesn't really sort of.
Yeah, I'm not too. I mean, I would kind of just the only one I've only when it comes to open world driving games, the only one I'll play would be a Forza Horizon.
Yep.
I don't think there's
because the crew has shat the bed.
Yeah, basically.
Too many times.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
I am not. I'm not going to dig up too many other ones looking back through this. But Space Marine 2 has had a real fucking shit show of a development. Under a different developer than the first game. I don't know, man. That could come out all right. It also could come out and be the most fuckedest piece of shit of this year. Who's to say? But I think the people, like, there have been people doomsaying 2024 as being, oh, there's fuck all coming. Like, most months have at least had a few really cool and really interesting indie games. If not more than just that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this year has been a bit light on for the big AAA stuff. I think that's a fair call to say. But overall, as with most years, when you start taking all the fact the smaller games that come out that don't necessarily have big buzz or even know they're coming, they're just a launch because that's how they come out. I think this year has still been really, really high. I mean, yeah, I think it's just the big games are a bit harder to say it's been a good year for those because they just haven't. There hasn't been that many for a start, and the ones that have come out have been relatively they've been okay, but.
If you're just talking solely big games, last year was the absolute dominance for that.
Whereas this year, I think it's come back to the mean a little bit, I guess you could say. But in terms of
Metal Slug Tactics comes out in December too. I forgot about that. That looks fucking awesome.
But yeah, in terms of the overall, I mean, once you're taking into account the smaller stuff, I think this year's been absolutely still really solid.
Oh yeah. Just in case anyone's curious why I haven't, I mentioned it last week. I'll mention it again in case anyone's curious why I haven't mentioned the Elden Ring DLC, because I'll need to play it for fucking 50 to 70 hours to be able to actually access it.
Yeah.
Because I'm a dumb fuck and I started New Game Plus and didn't keep my save. And as much as I would love to play another 50 to 70 hours of Elden Ring, fuck me, there are way more things that I want to get to from this year. Oh, god damn it. But I would really like to see just how fucked that DLC is, because a lot of people are talking like, yo, it's messed up.
Mm.
But yeah,
That's a big time commitment just about to get back to the point where you can start playing.
Yeah.
I think
The fact that like the jump off point for it is where it is, and because after finishing the game, you just instinctively it's like, I'm gonna do New Game Plus, and then I did it, and you can't go back into your old game.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
I think that was just worth doing a little bit of a half-yearly review just to see where things are at. But yeah, let's jump into the beginning of the end. Yeah, so beginning end, you've got a must listen, I believe, that you think is very, very,
fucking
very,
A.
must listen.
One of the most must listens of 2024 so far, the new Volvadinia album, Enter Benny, Entabeni. I am really, really happy that Volvadinia have managed to release a new album after dismissing their last vocalist for beating the shit out of one of the dudes in the band. Their new vocalist is fucking killer and actually has a much broader range than Duncan Bentley ever did. And fuck me, it's so good. Oh, it's so... Oh. I listened to it about 2 or 3 times front to back on Saturday. And listened to it on... because I was still awake until 3 a.m. on Friday morning. I listened to that and a bunch of EPs while playing Nordic Ashes. That's really good. There's a new Wormed album as well, but I've only listened to that once. But that seems pretty good. But Volvadinia, Enter Benny, fucking get on it. Oh, so good. Anyway.
Okay.
I'll watch Furious 6 again, Graham. That movie's fucking awesome.
Okay.
No reaction to Fast and Furious. That's disappointing.
No, I couldn't give a shit about that series anymore, to be honest. No, no, I can't be bothered watching 10 movies to get the full story of that thing. I cannot.
You don't need to!
Well, why they make 10 of them then?
Because they're fucking amazing. You don't have to watch them, you just can.
No.
Each of them have fucking ridiculously stupid, fantastic shit in them. And I need to know why a certain someone is back in fucking Fast X2.
I was in course joking, but I wanted to see your reaction to it, and it was exactly what I was hoping for.
Fuck you!
There's always a couple of buttons I can push with you, and that's one of them.
You can fucking eat a dick! Those movies that is the best movie series in human history.
No, but it's a very good one, I'll give you that.
I have had a couple of people drop by in the chat on streams and go Fast and Furious to shit. One of our followers / subscribers on YouTube sent me a their version of the ranking of Furiouses, which I did that on a Friday episode a few weeks back, and he had all of them in the E zone, and I'm like, that's fucking wrong. You can have opinions, but you can also have wrong opinions. Fast and Furious is fucking incredible. So Spider-Verse too, but that's a completely different story.
Okay, we're going to do... Let's wrap up. We've got some... hopefully do a checkout today. We should have enough time, I think, to do one. Hopefully if a game will go out. Will come out on Monday. This will go out on... on Tuesday. You've got... what did you have? Fast... There.
The first Descendant checkout is scheduled to go up... it'll be up before this goes.
You probably want to check that because it won't be. You want to check what you've done.
What do you mean?
You check the date of what you put in because it's not that.
Fuck! What did I do?
I don't know what you've done, but it's not that date. It's not the day.
God damn it!
Did
I do something stupid?
I don't know if you did anything stupid. I don't think you've got it set to go on the date you think it's going to go out.
Fuck me. All right, yeah, it's probably likely. Fuck.
Yeah, that'll go up. Hopefully that'll go up as well. We'll have that. I'm hopefully going to get around to getting that Satisfactory episode out. Still sitting there to edit. I just haven't got around to doing it.
Oh shit! How'd I do that?
I have no idea.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
Yeah, so if we'll do that, we'll do a checkout today. Steve's checkout of the first season will hopefully go up by the time this comes up, which hopefully all this will make a lot more sense. So all these,
I have now corrected that.
corrected that date, because that date was not going to go out before that.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was set for fucking a week from now.
Yeah.
That was dumb.
And we'll do more checkouts next week. We have no idea what they're going to be at this point. Has there been any more content for Lightyear Frontier? Let's check that before we go any further.
Only a patch or two.
Only patch or two. Okay, so we won't be doing
No
that
content updates that I've heard of.
All right.
I'll have the Friday show and the Saturday special, twitch.tv/Enemy Starship. Continuing on with the Surge 2 on Saturday. And there's a few things I got lined up for Friday, including, I meant to get to it this week, but I didn't get to it. There's a Game Boy Advance game that has just come out that has been delayed for about 22 years. So there's an actual full price physical edition, like cartridge and all,
Okay.
that's available to buy. But I have obtained a different version of it to play through totally legal means.
I'm sure.
Yep. So I meant to play that this Friday. This Friday show just gone. I got distracted by Suika games, and that fucking Kunitsugami demo. So I didn't get to it. So I'll play it this week.
Alrighty, I think that'll wrap up episode 302 of the Should I Play This Game podcast for the 8th of July.
302. Wait.
What?
Yeah, that works. 302, bruh. 302 represent.
See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.